All right, guys, we'll see if this one works better. What happened is I had a window with YouTube open and I didn't know I did. And I was just getting that window open to grab the address to put it in Discord to share with you guys. Then I forgot to close the window. So it was open in the background and it was probably running about 5 seconds behind. And you were probably hearing double and triple me, and it was probably terrible. Anyway, Mark, thanks for being here. I'm sorry to cut off your thing. And also, speaking of cutting off something, were you the one that made a comment about Jerry Jeff Walker yesterday? Anyway, I love Jerry Jeff, of course. I mean, it won't surprise you. But anyway, but I saw that in the comments of the live stream, and I didn't comment on it. I was talking about something else, got sidetracked. Anyway, all right, so let's go back to where we were. I'm going to remember to share the screen. Hopefully there's not an echo. If there's an echo, I'm sure SB will he's texting me right now. See, it's the 3 dots of heck. Oh, he thinks he's saying it's better, but then he's saying, no, this is a replay. So he's probably watching the morning edition thinking it's better. There's 4 of us here, though. We know it's not SB. It's Mark. Oh, no echo on replay. But anyway, all right. Well, I need to tell him I'm on live. I don't know if I'm trying to get him to get with the program, right? I said there's a new link in Discord. Okay, he just moved over. Hey, SB, thank you so much. All right, now let's see if I remember to share the screen. It's Friday the 13th. Got to be referring. Hey, Thomas, how are you doing? How is? Let me ask you, how is? Or maybe you can put it in the comments if you want to talk about it. But how is fishing season going yet, or boating season, or whatever it is you do? I think it's a combination of boating and fishing. But anyway, and what have you been catching? I'd like to hear about it if you don't mind telling everybody. Anyway, all right. So let's look at this. All I was showing is some trades, whatever. I mean, trades are no big deal. Okay, so let's look at. Let's see how the model portfolio did, and I guess let's look at the market first. Let's see how the market's closing. It's 256. SPY, that's a daily chart. It has a little bit of a rejection tail up high from this morning's action, from the gap or whatever. But we aren't on the lows. There's also a little bit of a rejection tail at the bottom, which is good. Let's put it on 30-minute and try to zoom it in a little bit more and see what the heck is going on. Boy, that rally looks like in hindsight, would have been a great place to get some puts at for the end of the day. On Fridays, I think when there's war in Europe, the same thing was happening in early Ukraine. People don't want to be long on a Friday, not particularly. So people that might otherwise be long 2 weeks ago, and held through the weekend last Friday, I think dumped today. So I think that's all that in my opinion, that's all that is. But I'd be anxious to know what you guys think. Mark, Thomas, you guys are experienced traders as well. But I think this sell-off was probably nothing to worry about. I'm just worried about this head and shoulders looking pattern we're making. Not really worried, but the sell-off today, I think, was just probably Friday afternoon. People don't want to be long in front of a possible. There could be something crazy happens this weekend, and we could have a big gap down. I think. Anyway, all right. So that's the SPY. Let's look at the Qs, and we'll look at Bitcoin. But yeah, then we'll see how the high yield funds did. All right, well, the Qs, unfortunately, this bullish gap from a few days ago didn't seem to help today because, especially if they close on the other side of it, that's usually – so maybe I'm going to have to make this one in right here. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes the firepower's gone. But we'll see. But we'll see. If it closes on the other side of that bullish gap, that pretty much invalidates it. This one is still open because the one time I got in it, it did what it was supposed to do. It was bullish. So we'll leave this one open. But that one is suspect right now. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. Nice. So Bitcoin just tried to rally, but just couldn't. it's going to take some firepower to get it back up here to 108 and 110. But who knows? It could happen. But it also trades all weekend long. But right now, and we talked about this the other day, if it falls out of this balance, it's probably going to this balance of 104. And that's where it looks like it's balancing. And there's been two-way trade there before. So we shall see. That looks like that's where we're going to start the weekend anyway. All right. So I wanted to address Thomas's question here. Fluke is the summer flounder. Blue crabbing has been good. My uncle had a boat, a sailboat, and he just used to cruise around the bay. He didn't fish, but I've always thought that'd be so awesome to have some type of boat to be able to, a pleasure craft, just where you could get out. And we didn't even put the sails up. He took me around the bay just with the motor. But yeah, that is a blast. That is a blast. And I couldn't imagine if you also like fishing at the same time. That would be that would be it. Anyway, all right. So how's everyone else doing here? Yeah, happy Friday, DivDad 83. Oh yeah, we were talking about you yesterday. I decided that you're probably born in 83, but you could be like me, and an 80s kid that graduated in 83. Anyway, it's whatever. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, most people aren't 80s kids, aren't as old as me, but yeah, Mark, you agree that smart traders trim their position, just like what you would generally call day traders or whatever, or short-term traders that have been YOLOing calls or whatever. Yeah, a month ago, they may not have done that, but just given the stuff that's gone on just in the past day or so, I'm kind of surprised they didn't start the invasion tonight, and maybe they'll ramp it up tonight as soon as the market closes. But usually they do wars, especially when we're involved on Friday night. They do invasions, especially but of course this one's a little different because it's a proxy. Lately we just do proxies, but selling a bunch of premium is always good. So get this, guys. I heard somebody today, I was on Unusual Wells or somebody's Twitter feed, but somebody that follows Option Flow. And yeah, somebody right at the end of the day sold, I don't know, an obscene amount of SPX calls. I forget the numbers and everything. And, but anyway, so I hope that we aren't in a, for a while we were in a buy the dip phase. And I hope the momentum, I hope this isn't a head and shoulders top and we haven't had a momentum change, but it's kind of looking like that, and especially if we get another news event over the weekend that makes us pop down and makes us lose the current price level. And anyway, so we'll see. We shall see. All right. But SB, congratulations on selling premium. You didn't sell as much as that one guy that sold. It was like 26 million or something. He sold a bunch of SPX calls. Now, and that's all he sold, but he probably had a bunch of stock also. It was, I doubt he was just selling naked calls. But anyway, but we don't know who it is. We just know someone sold calls. But I'm betting it was against a position of lots of stock. In fact, when I saw that, I was wondering if it was one of our friends that we know in the covered call business. But do any of the funds sell that much? I mean, it could have not have been. Well, anyway, who knows? I didn't know if it was one of the covered call funds or something. But anyway, all right. I'm glad that you guys did here. Let's see. Yeah, red days are good days to buy. All right. SBS. All right. Let's look at the model portfolio. Well, I'm really proud of the diversification. Diversification was my strength today. The model portfolio was only down 28 bips, whereas the market was down 1%. But that's largely due to this GDXY position helping me out, not to mention the YQQ position helping me out. A lot of people, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like that fund, agree with it or whatever. But anyway, I like what I'm using it for, just as a volatility dampener. because freaking LFGY and ULTY are super volatile, and having this one, it offsets some of their risk. Anyway, YSPY and TLTW. All right, and now let's look at the allocations. Or that's the max factor. We're going to look at that in a second. Gosh darn it. I'm sorry about that. All right, I think I accidentally closed the window, but I wanted to show you my model portfolio. I'm really proud of this. All right. There we have it. There we have it. Allocations. So this is the allocation just of the high yield portfolio, what I'm calling a model high yield portfolio. So this is not a growth portfolio. This is just a portfolio that someone could use to get income. And we're trading this in real life for my brother-in-law right now. So this is just I take the daily results from a Tasty Trade account and upload them to here, and it makes the model results. But there was a question about what's my overall mix, but I would say my advice would be no more than 20% of the high yielders, the overall portfolio. Because these things are risky. But if you have, 60% stock and maybe 30% bonds and 10% these, and you have some of the good ones that pay a ton, like maybe some ULTY and maybe some, I don't know, some of the big ones. They have issues and stuff, but you don't have to use as much of them. So my theory on the high yields is just do as little as possible. As little as you can get away with, because they don't create wealth. We know that. They can sometimes. They can create income, and sometimes there's occasions where these can outperform, but it's kind of the exception and not the rule. When we see one that's outperforming, we go, wow, that one outperformed. But for every one of these high yielders that outperform the parent asset, there's 3 or 4 that are underperforming. So that I think the rule on these is just use as little as possible, since you're destroying long-term wealth. But you're trading long-term wealth for short-term income, but it's something that's a real concern in retirement. So I'd say as little as possible, not more than 20%. But my brother-in-law has some real estate, and this is a small account, but he's wanting to maybe divest himself of real estate and use bonds or options or some other method for income. So we're kind of looking at this. But anyway, all right. Well, let's look at the max factor. So this is kind of how I evaluate these. I look at here. I'll show you what we look at. There it is, high yield technical analysis. I've had so many of these, but okay, this I really like this sheet. What does it say IWN there? I just don't know. What in the heck did that even mean? All right, I don't know why NVW isn't working. Okay, well, these right here are, according to the metrics I follow, some of the better balanced funds. These funds, they just aren't the highest paying. We could easily just chart the highest paying fund. You could do that yourself. But this factors in yield. It factors in NAV return. So it also factors in, NAV depletion, NAV decay, whatever you want to call it. But it factors in the risk of the fund too. It looks at the risk of a fund. At the same time, it looks at the average daily range and the volatility. And so it tries to equalize. So it doesn't just, because if we didn't equalize, the super volatile funds would win. Maxi would be number one on everything. typically if I didn't equalize for volatility and equalize for risk and stuff. So, and I know MSFY is not that exciting, but it has a good mix of factors, in my opinion, as does NFLP, as does PLTW. The other thing this factors in that I don't know any other metrics anywhere else that do except for Dorsey Wright is the short-term momentum. It factors in the short-term momentum, the total return, the yield, and it doesn't just necessarily give you the one with the highest total return. That's probably the best metric to use. Just don't worry about any metrics. Don't worry about what I tell you and stuff. Just the highest total return is good too, but everyone can look at that. I was trying to look at a metric that looks at something different. But in any event, but yeah, I think these are good, especially this Maggie. I'm really starting to like Maggie more. So let's go to the data and actually look at the data behind Maggie and see if it can justify. So it's a $56 price. Trailing 12-month dividend is a paltry $1.78, but it's only 2 months old or something. So, but it's still not good. It doesn't look like a dividend monster. It may pay 20 or 30%. I think we figured today. A factor and B factor are both positive, meaning it has positive short-term and medium-term momentum. It's kind of risky. Has 10% total return, though, for the last quarter. And when you factor all that in together and the yield it pays, even though it's small right now, but you factor all that in together, yield plus total return plus momentum, and then you factor out for volatility, it's one of the better ones. Look, so where's Chippy? Well, Chippy, this isn't in the right order, is it? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, then look, Chippy's right underneath Maggie. Well, that's good to see. I put together some new content on Chippy, with the Chippy verse and the Altiverse and the GPTY verse are coming back next week. I had them all open and they crashed my computer right before this live stream, so I shut them just so I could get this live stream started. That probably had something to do with that echo at the first two. I had the whole computer jacked up. But the Altiverse will be back next week. And the AI is also going to tell us which ones are new. Whenever they drop a stock, it'll notify us, or whenever they put a new stock in there. So, and I really think those Alti and LFGY and Chippy, because they can pick anything they want, especially with ULTY, I think those are really good to look at on a daily basis for guys that are trading options and trying to kind of do some of the same things these funds are doing, but in your own account. I kind of think that's why a lot of you guys are here, and that's basically more what I'm doing. I'm doing these same strategies or similar strategies, but trying to do it myself. I think it's more fun to do it yourself. Anyway, I think there's a lot of other do-it-yourselfers here. I know SB, they ought to hire SB to be a manager. This guy makes really good income on his poor man cover call strategy. It's a great strategy. Look at this. SB sold $12,000 in premium today. My gosh. I mean, I bet I could look at YieldMax. There's some funds that probably didn't sell. Here, let's look at that. Let's call that. I have a new report here. I wasn't going to show it because it's kind of boring. Premium collection. Let's see these funds. So look, here's the fund. Hui only sold, 6 million. Anyway, that's not what they sold. That's hang on. Daily net premium report. All right. Here we have this freaking YMAG this day only sold $230 worth of premium. Here's Berkshire C only sold $5,200 worth of premium one day. And that's like a $2 million fund. And here's SB over here doing it. Just killing it, SB. Anyway, but yeah, that is a great. And of course, that's not over one day. That's probably going to have to come true over several weeks or a week or two. So it's a little bit deceiving. You aren't going to make that much in one day, but you can generate that much yield or income in one day, I guess. But hopefully by this time next Friday, you will have captured all of that, right? Do I have that right? Anyway, he'll let me know if I don't have that right. But yeah, great job. Great job, Mark. All of you guys are premium bandits. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. But KB, I was trying to answer that, but it's small. My portfolio's in Vanguard Growth, and it's been there so long. And anyway, but yeah, it's small, and even but I try to do the same thing as these high yielders in my trading account. But that's a small account too. I'm just doing this for fun. I just don't want to. I've made some bad financial decisions earlier in my life. I made a bunch of bad personal decisions too. So I'm trying to just kind of moderate. Anyway, but I appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, the market helped you today with the dip. All right, let's see what else I have to show you guys. Have I covered the diagonal overlay? But no, but I invented a new trade today. We're going to look at that as a bit. Let's go on the bad decision. Yeah, I've talked about them before, but I'm in recovery. I moved down to Austin to get sober, kind of the opposite. Most people move to Austin to party, or New Orleans, or wherever, Nashville, wherever. But I moved here to get sober, and I've been sober ever since I've been here, and I've been here almost a decade now. I have 9 years sobriety coming up this summer. And anyway, next year I turn 60 and we'll have 10 years. So anyway, all right. So look at this. So, hey, I want to show you this in all seriousness before I weave too far and forget. I was trying to look at a way to do a strategy next week where I was bearish for Monday in case the market goes down Monday. But I was bullish for next week and bullish for Friday. And I was trying to think, is there a trade I can put together, a strategy that would be like free money if you could do both at the same time? Of course, there's no such thing as free money. And so, but I wanted to see how close I could get. And so I had to invent a new spread called the convexity spread. But I thought you guys might like it. So it's also called a bull ladder. I mean, you never really invent anything. I'm just joking. But it didn't really have a cool name, all right. So look at this. So we can hedge plus earn a premium. No, we don't want to do that. Okay. Bearish I did for the weekend. Okay. If the market stays here, you make $400, $500. Well, no, we don't want that one either because you lose too much. Hang on. I was trying to do a pairs trade. They won't let you enter these as pairs trades. I forgot which one with targets 1 standard deviation down for Monday. Maybe this was it. Yes. Okay. This is $100 of risk. If we pull back Monday, hopefully it'll pull back right to the 1 standard deviation, which would be about $200, or a little bit further, it'd be $500, $600, depending on, when you're going to take it off. There's a noon, or that's like 8 in the morning. That's when the market opens. If you just wait till the market opens and you can get it anywhere down there, should be a nice little profit. But that's just for Monday. That expires Monday. So if the market rallies, you leave $100 on the table. So we have to have a bullish strategy, and the market might, because it pulled back and the dip buyer. I don't know. I mean, maybe nothing happens over the weekend and then the market rallies. Well, but you have to have a bullish strategy where you're going to be able to offset this to make a free money pairs trade strategy. So that's one part of the strategy. And I don't think I saved it. Oh, I did. Yeah. Convexity spread, bullish play for next Friday. So this has to be cheap. Also, the bullish play has to be cheap because you don't make that much, and you can't just buy a call, or if you lose too much, so you have to have a plan here. So that's why I call it convexity spread. Because the further it goes out, the higher percentage, and the slope. It's the slope increasing is what that implies. But anyway, all it is a ladder. What it is you buy the 603 for next Friday. It would cost you $250, but you sell the 605, you get 150 of that back. Okay. But then you go out here to the 615 and you get two of these. They're only $12. You get two of them, it's $25, but it just gets you extra money on the wing, and you can, the increased slope is what you're going for. Probably not going to get a 2 standard deviation move, but the thing is, if you hold it till expiration, it has a 31% chance of profit. It's only $93. If you do get a 1 standard deviation move, you make $107, which offsets perfectly what you lost on the other one, assuming it doesn't go down real quick and you don't get a chance to cover the other one. I mean, we're hoping to cover the other one for a profit, but assuming the other one's a full loss, right here you have a break even. So this is just like kind of like a free shot or a cheap shot at a big week next week. But if we do get the 2 standard deviation move, it's a couple $1,000. So we'll see. But that was the best I could come up with at like 250. But when I was looking at the chart, because the chart has, to me, has short-term bearish and longer-term bullish written all over it. I mean, I want to just, it pulled back right here to this bullish gap. I want to just, I want to just buy it, or at least definitely buy the dip if it pulls back to 590, like the previous point of control. And then aiming for either a new high or buy the dip at 590, aiming for 600, which is this, trading range up here that it'll bounce up there. But in front of the war over the weekend, wonder if over the weekend, the war makes us go down probably right to where this two-way trading action is, or maybe further. But, something happens over the weekend, it makes us go down. That other trade will make a couple $100, take it off. And then there's still a chance that it rallies by the end of the week. Maybe not. But anyway, I'm always looking for long, short ideas, strategies that you can be long and short together. Anyway, all right. Now, SB, his thing is a thing of beauty. So on MicroStrategy, SB is running a poor man's cover call with a diagonal overlay 2 weeks out. Oh, yeah, I haven't. When you said the diagonal overlay, I haven't talked about that on here yet. I didn't know what you're talking about, SB. But no, that's too complicated. I was just talking about some of plus that's your trade. You invented that. But we can talk about that sometime. I'm going to make a video that has that trade in it. But no, I haven't talked about that yet. I have not talked about that yet. No, those trades were complicated. Exactly. Just pick a direction, and if you're bullish, sell puts. If you're bearish, sell calls. Or if you're bullish, maybe buy calls, and if you're bearish, maybe sell calls and buy puts or something. Yeah, I got you. It does make it. I have to make everything complicated. I was just saying if there's a way to do it. There's always in my head. There's a way. There's got to be two trades together: a ratio spread and a broken wing butterfly. I know there's in my head, there's got to be two trades together, or a ratio where you do something 3 times, something else twice, and it puts you in a position where you can't lose. I know these Wall Street guys know where it is. I'm trying to figure it out myself. But yeah, that's not it. That's not it. But also I like to talk about stuff. I like to talk about things. Yeah. So you do, So when you're bullish, you sell puts, cash secured puts, and then you can also, when you're bullish, you can do covered calls, which is also a bullish strategy. Yeah. Great plan. Great plan, guys. All right. Anything else you guys want to look at? Let's see who has earnings next week. Earnings hub. I think it was pretty much nobody. This is bad. This is bad. We could just show all of them. Or no, there's no filter. How about that? All right. I filtered out some of the really small companies, but this is everything. So, other than Lennar, I don't know if I've even heard of any of these. I like the sound of that because it's a tech company, apps, Digital Turbine. Wonder if this one's as good as that APP. Anyway, $4 company. Yeah, so anyway, no more earnings next week. Not to find something else to do with my time. What's SWBI? Oh, Smith and Wesson. Nice. Let's see how that's doing year to date. Yeah. It has about as much risk as the market. It pulled back about 15% when the market was down about 15%, right? Or yeah, something like that. 1 year chart doesn't look that good. 1 year chart kind of looks like triple QI, doesn't it? I hope Jay's not watching. Oh, all right. Or Sylvia. I meant that. I'm laughing with him, not at him. Yeah, I knew Lennar was a big home builder, but I mean, like I say, I know who Lennar is. Just, I mean, but yeah, but I can't recall ever having traded options on him. I like companies like Oracle or like DocuSign or like whatever. But also S&P 500 companies like JP Morgan or companies like Nike. But those are the companies those types of the companies are the ones I look at for earnings trades. Yeah, not likely to move the market. I would agree with you guys. What are you guys going to do this weekend? Trying to think what I'm going to do. I got to go clean the house right now. There's 5 of you here. That's pretty good. These live streams are getting more popular. I appreciate you guys for being here. I would show this thing, but this premium collection is better in the morning. But this is all the trades. This is how much all the companies made for, or all the ETFs made for Yield Max. And then we can actually look at the individual trades. But I'm getting ready to run this again, and then maybe I'll be on Sunday night with the late night with Max and Jax, and we can look at some of these. If there's some that you want to look at, and you're at the show, I'll pull their performance, and we can put the dates in. We want to look at it, and if you're looking to try to predict a dividend or something, I can give you how much they've captured. Yeah, you're going to do as little as you can get away with this weekend. All right. Well, me too. I'm going to go get started doing that right now. I'm going to do the dishes. I'm going to sweep and mop. There's always black hair all over the floors, and I think that's because of Jackson. Of course, there's a lot of white hair also because of the boxer. But anyway, I always do a little Friday cleanup, so get the weekend off to a good start, right? All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all for being here. Hope you have a good day. Hit me up in Discord if there's anything that I didn't cover that we forgot to talk about, and we'll cover it this weekend. All right, guys. Thank you very much. You have a good day. See ya.